So you bought your first mace, you've been macing for a while, and now you want to swing heavier stuff. And if you want to swing heavier macing, then this video may be for you. Okay, there's probably better coaches out there, so I'm just going to let you know what works for me. So the initial phase of using a heavier mace to me is getting the launch right. Okay, so when we start macing, we all start with the mace standing in front of us, and there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, nothing wrong with that at all, until you're trying to hold 35 kgs here. So you've got 35 kgs, you lift it up, and then you're trying to hold it here. And the other thing when you hold it there is, when you let that 35 kgs go, you're not going to get the mace as high as you need it. So when you start doing a mace, everybody goes on about 3 Ps, or that seems to be the main way people train it. And that's the push, yeah, the pendulum as it comes behind you, and then the pull. So when you go heavier, I think it's important to get into your head that the push won't work, it's got to be more of a throw. So you will throw it up, which makes it pendulum faster, and then it comes up higher. So there's this little bit here, as the mace comes up, if you didn't pull it, it would go back down. And there's a part of the swing where the mace will pause before it goes back on itself. And that pause, when you're going heavy, is important, because when you get to the top, and the pause, it pauses before it goes back down, that's where you want to be pulling, when it goes to the top of that pause. Because as soon as it starts going back down, you're going to make the pull a lot harder for yourself, especially when you're going, I don't know, 30, 35, maybe even 40 kgs. So the initial part of a launch is feet shoulder width apart, grip with your toes, drive your heels in, just like you're doing a deadlift. The ball, or the head of the mace, is in front of your foot, and your hand grabs the mace handle around about just in front of your foot, and then you'll stand up. Okay, so just like a deadlift, you stand up, you drive your heels in, and you stand up. The second part is the throwing of the mace. So if you throw the mace up and then bring it down, keeping this elbow in, throw the mace up and then bring it down. So combined, what you get is, you get a stand up, and as you get to the top of that stand up, you're using that drive and that momentum in your legs to help with carrying the mace handle, you know, with the strength of your arm as well, to get it up across your, over your shoulder, or behind your shoulder, should I say. So it'll go like that. Okay? So if we don't do this initial throw, and we just do it the old-fashioned way, you'll see it'll get to about here, I think. Okay? And then I'm pulling from there. And as you can see, that's not very high, especially if you've got a lot of weight on it. So if you do it this way, driving through your legs, using the momentum to throw the mace, you can see that it's coming above my shoulder. Okay? With no effort from me. So when it's here, I start pulling using my torso. So I'm pulling it down rather than pulling it from behind, or from below rather, or level with my shoulder. I'm pulling it down, which obviously mechanically means you've got more strength in your shoulder. So we practice the initial part of the launch. You can practice that by just going into 360, tapping it in front of your foot, going into 360, tapping it in front of your foot. And then the throw part, by doing the Hanneman move, okay, you practice that. and then combined, you have that move. So you use the momentum of your legs, carry momentum through, using your arm. You throw the mace, so the pendulum part is nice and, well, severe, I suppose, fast. Yeah, faster, comes up higher. And because the mace comes higher, when it pauses before it goes back, it's easy to pull. The only other thing you've got to worry about, or you've got to think about, is that when you're throwing it, it's important you get this hand back on the end of the mace. So if you don't get it on the end of the mace quick enough, okay, you're doing a one-handed mace, and you won't be able to pull. And also, because you're using a one-handed mace, it's sort of restricting the swing, so how far it goes, how high it goes. So what I do is I just throw it up and then practice getting that hand on the end of the mace before the mace comes down. So it's up, I'm already grabbing it before the mace starts the pendulum. Okay? So, launch. And that's how I practice all of that. So the next stage we'll be doing is this. When it comes up on the pull, will be this. We'll go through the pull a little bit more. So if you want to help with your launch, you could do deadlifts. I do sandbags occasionally, not as much as the mace. You can just practice air squats, but nothing will beat practicing it with the mace. And also, I advise, not only do you practice it on one side, yeah, you practice it on both sides. Okay, so that's my first boring chat about air swing maces done.